All right, today we're going to dive into a truly epic story from the Buddhist tradition. It's this incredible tale about a young woman whose faith was so powerful, it literally moved the heavens and changed an entire city. We're talking about the Maiden Sumati.
But before we really get into it, I want to ask you something. What would you be willing to risk for what you truly believe in? I mean, think about it. Your reputation, your family's good name, even your own safety. Just keep that question in your back pocket, because our hero today, well, she's about to be tested on every single one of those fronts.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with two super wealthy, super powerful families in ancient India. And their lives? They're about to get tangled up in a big, big way.
So on one side, you've got Anāthapiṇḍika. He's a really famous patron of the Buddha, and he has this amazing, devout daughter named Sumati. Then on the other side, you have the Purnavardhana family. They're just as rich, but they follow, let's say, heretical teachers, a totally different spiritual tradition. So naturally, a marriage is proposed to link these two powerhouse families. But yeah, there's one massive problem.
And right off the bat, Sumati's father, Anāthapiṇḍika, says no. And it's not about money, it's not about social status. They're totally equal on that front. The real issue, the deal breaker, is that massive gap in their beliefs. He's worried, you know. He's scared for his daughter's faith if she's living in a house full of non-believers.
But Purnavardhana, the other father, is desperate to make this marriage happen. So he makes this huge, solemn promise. He basically says, look, I swear, when your daughter comes to my home, she can worship however she wants. It's a shaky deal, for sure, and a promise that is absolutely going to be put to the test. But for now, it's enough to get the wedding back on the table.
Okay, but before he gives the final yes, Anāthapiṇḍika goes to the one person he trusts most, the Buddha himself. And what the Buddha says is just incredible. He gives this prophecy, saying this isn't just some marriage. No, this is a key moment in time, an event that's going to lead to the spiritual awakening of thousands of people. Well, with a blessing like that, the wedding is a go.
So Sumati gets married, she moves into her new home, and it does not take long at all for that promise to be broken, and for her faith to face its first major test.
Here's what goes down. Her new father-in-law decides he's going to throw this big feast to welcome her. And who does he invite as the guests of honor? Oh, just 6,000 brahmins, the spiritual gurus his family follows. And then Sumati is told, come out and bow to them.
And this is the moment the entire story just pivots. Sumati says no, flat out refuses. And her reasoning is what's so fascinating. She basically says that the two things that make us human, that separate us from animals, are shame and modesty. So by calling these teachers naked and shameless, she's saying they don't have those basic human virtues, and there's no way she can bow to them. Can you imagine? It's just a completely shocking, defiant move.
The fallout? Oh, it's instant, and it's a total disaster. Her new family is publicly shamed. The Brahmins, they're furious. And Sumati, well, she's now a young bride in a strange land, and she's totally alone. She's just angered all the most powerful people around her. Her father-in-law is just beside himself, completely overcome with rage and sorrow.
Just when it seems like all hope is lost, an unexpected visitor shows up, and this person is about to start building a bridge across this huge divide. And his name is Subhadra. Now, he's a Brahmin too, but he's different. He's incredibly wise, he has supernatural powers, and he hears about what's going on with the family. And when he finds out the new daughter-in-law is a disciple of the Buddha, he's not angry at all. He's actually shocked that she's still alive, because he knows just how powerful her teacher is.
And to explain what he means, Subhadra tells this unbelievable story. He says he once saw the Buddha's youngest, least experienced student, a total novice, do some amazing things. This young monk flew through the air to a mythical lake, washed his robe, and went into these deep meditative states, so deep that the gods and spirits of the lake actually came to serve him. And Subhadra's point is just so powerful, right? He's saying, look, if this is what the brand new guy can do, can you even wrap your head around the power of the teacher himself? And that story just completely shatters the father-in-law's whole worldview. All that anger, all that shame, it just melts away and is replaced by this sense of total awe and curiosity. So he goes to Sumati. But this time, it's not with an order. It's with a humble, simple question. The question that's about to kick off the climax of this entire story.
Sumati is of course overjoyed. She agrees immediately.
She gets a huge feast ready, and then she does something truly extraordinary. She calls for her teacher.
Now this whole story, it comes from an ancient text, a sutra that's been passed down for centuries. And according to this sutra, Sumati doesn't just, send a messenger. Oh no, she does something way more profound. She goes up to the top of a high tower, she lights some incense, and she just sends out this powerful prayer with all her heart. And the sutra says the smoke itself formed a fragrant cloud that traveled for hundreds of miles, right to where the Buddha was. It was like a supernatural distress signal. And of course, the Buddha hears her, and he tells his disciples who have these amazing powers to go on ahead of him. And what happens next is basically one of the most incredible parades you'll find in any ancient story. One after another, the Buddha's greatest disciples start showing up, and each one makes a spectacular, miraculous entrance. And every single time, the father-in-law, his mind just blown, turns to Sumati and asks, "Is that him? Is that your teacher?" And the sheer scale of these miracles is just mind-boggling. First, Panthaka shows up with 500 blue oxen flying through the sky. Then Rahula arrives, and the air is filled with 500 multicolored peacocks. After that, Madhyana materializes with 500 six-tusked elephants. With every impossible sight, the father-in-law is just speechless. But Sumati just calmly shakes her head and says, "No, that's a great disciple, but my teacher is still coming." You can just feel the anticipation building and building.
And then, after this unbelievable show of power from just his students, the teacher himself finally arrives.
The sky just explodes with light. The Buddha appears, surrounded by gods and all these celestial beings. The father-in-law is just completely overwhelmed. He says he looks like a mountain of pure gold, so bright you can't even look straight at him. And in that moment, he falls to his knees and takes refuge in the very teaching he had just been insulting.
And the effect is just immediate. It's total. The whole family converts on the spot. Those 6,000 brahmins, they see their power has just vanished, and they flee the city. But here's the most amazing part. 84,000 citizens of that city who saw all of this happen and heard the Buddha's words reached a stage of enlightenment. The prophecy about Sumati, it came true.
But hold on, this story isn't over yet. The Buddha's disciples are scratching their heads. They ask him, why? How did this happen? How could one woman's faith set off such a huge chain reaction? And the answer, well, it goes back thousands and thousands of years.
So the Buddha explains that ages and ages ago, in a past life, Sumati was a princess named Sumana, and she made this incredibly powerful vow, not just to become enlightened herself, but to help every single person in her kingdom do the same. And all those people, they made a vow to follow her. So what we just saw, the marriage, the fights, the miracles, all of it, was basically the universe cashing in on a promise made eons ago. It was the fruit of a seed that was planted a lifetime before.
And that really brings us to the core message of this whole story and a final question to leave you with. The Sutra of Sumati seems to be telling us that our intentions, our deepest commitments, can create ripples that travel across time in ways we can't even begin to imagine. They don't just shape our own future, but the future of everyone we're connected to.